Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday, everyone. I hope that you had a good day. I am in the Chicagoland area, and it is 52. It was 52 degrees earlier this morning. So this is amazing. December 24th, 52 degrees, Chicago. Y'all know what it is. So today is beautiful. It's beautiful because the weather is good, but even when the weather is bad or disrespectful, God is good. He's very nice to us. He's still on the throne. So, as promised, today I want to focus on employment. I will actually be focusing on employment information, all things career related, job related this week. So, I will post again. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I want to become more consistent because that's the request of people. For those of you all who don't know who I am, I'm Tamji Bryant, the tip writer, but my passion comes from just my background, right? So I have a bachelor's degree in social work and I have my master's in HR. So, and I also work at a law school and I own a trucking company, right? So I do a few things. But in those roles, I have been afforded the opportunity to gain information that I would not have gained, right? A lot of the things that I experience, that I talk about, I've experienced. So that's just to give you a little background. Um, so today I want to encourage you all who it's the end of the year. So most of you all make New Year or New You resolutions. And whether you have resolved to do this or not, I want to implore you to update your resume. I don't care if you're looking for a job or not. Sometimes, I've been at my job for 6 years, right? So I've been doing the same thing. My company has changed. Like it used to be John Marshall, now it's UIC Law. My company has changed, but my position didn't. So the resume that I used to obtain the job, I would have no reason to change it, right? Unless I'm looking for employment. Well, fortunately for me, I was able to update my resume because I had to do that when we transitioned over from John Marshall to UIC Law. So that's how that happened for me. But some of you all have been working in positions for 10, 15, 20 years. Some of you all have been working at companies for 20 years, but have changed roles, right? So you got promoted, you started there in 2000, it's 2023. You've held 4 different roles, but you have never updated your resume. Take this time to do that. Update your resume. I'm not trying to spook you out. I'm just trying to tell you it's really a good idea. Update it while there is no pressure, right? While you're not looking for employment and like, what did I do there? While you're not on the bubble of being terminated or the company is not laying off, just update it. Also, understand in 2024, the employment landscape is changing. So in March 2020, we all went home for the most part. And most of us who went home, we bought a computer, worked remotely. When I went home on March 13th, 15th, whatever date it was, we were slated to come back in May because nobody knew what the pandemic was all about. We just never imagined we would be off for a year or so. I returned to work August 2021. So I had a year and a half to work from home. And I was ready to go back to work, honestly, because I kind of got tired of being in the house, but neither here nor there. Things changed, right? So now I work remotely. I work a hybrid job. So I work 3 days in the office, 2 days from home. Most of you all understand exactly what's going on. Some of you all are working 100% remote, right? But companies it's a growing trend with companies where they're actually requiring employees to come back into the office to the point where if an employee has relocated, because some people is like, I can work from home, I'm moving to Texas. And they moved from Chicago to Texas, right? Because they had that opportunity. Companies now, it's a growing trend. You have to kind of stay abreast of your company's policy, the temperature in the room. I always tell people check the temperature in the room. What does it feel like your company is doing? If they're talking about, bringing people back 1 day a week, understand they may be bringing you back 1 day a week. If they're talking about bringing you back 2 or 3 days a week, prepare yourself for that, right? I keep up, although I work at a law school, and my job, as I know it is not at stake, I still keep up with what's going on. So I follow employers, I follow companies, I follow corporations just to see what they're talking about, just to see what the heartbeat is. And 2024 and 2025, more than likely, people who are working for companies and corporations will be required to work to work in a hybrid type situation. That's okay. So we've had a good time, right? So that might be okay. It might be the change that you need. Some people are scared when they think about that. Others are like, okay, whatever. But those who have relocated, they're finding the challenges of that decision. Either way, update your resume. Okay. So this week I've been reviewing resumes. I'm still reviewing resumes. You have up to December 30th to submit your resume to me, and I will provide a free review. Now, my review is not, this looks bad, this looks good, good luck. That's not what I do. Because I have worked as a career advisor role for more than a decade, I literally review the resume with my red pen, making marks and comments on the resume to tell you what should be changed. Most people appreciate that. So I'm not just looking and saying change this. It's too long. A few tips I want to share with you for your resume. Pardon me. Your resume should not give away your age immediately, right? So your resume should not give away your ethnicity. I have a resume now that I'm reviewing that has, minority, veteran. That information is not necessary and can be used to discriminate against you. So, for instance, my name is Tam G. Bryant, right? So my email address could be, Tam Bryant 1974, because I was born in 1974. I'll be 50 next year, right? I was born in 1974. If I am trying to find employment, that is not the first thing I want to give to an employer. A lot of times, the recruiters, they're looking at the resume and they are doing everything they can to eliminate, because they have 2 roles to fill, maybe 1 role to fill, and they have 400 resumes. What's the quickest way to eliminate you from the applicant pool? It's not right, but it happens. And I can tell you, I have a degree in HR, so I know that it happens. What recruiters and HR representatives often do, they'll never tell you because they don't want to get in trouble. But I'm going to tell you the secret. If your resume is 4 pages long, that's a quick elimination, especially the position. Now, some industries require, or it's typical to have 4 pages of resume, like computer tech. That's different. But if you are a customer service representative, administrative assistant, and your resume is 4 pages long, you're going to be eliminated. I mean, I can't say 100%, but 99.98% chance is your resume will be eliminated, because this is how it appears. If you can't describe your duties and your task in 1 or 2 pages, you definitely are going to come in here and hold me hostage for a few hours. If your resume is 4 pages long, think about it. A lot of times, if you actually adjust the margins, you can bring it down to a good 2 pages. A lot of times resumes are filled with white spaces, okay? So your resume can't be too long. 2 pages is the standard unless you're going over for a different reason, like the tech resumes. It's common to see those be a little bit longer. But your resume being too long is an issue. Your dead giveaway age is an issue, right? So if you were born in 1974, like I was, and you add that to your resume, and the HR rep was born in 1992, of course they think that we're old as dirt, right? Because we're almost 50. They're just like, oh no, we don't want no old people coming here. Really, we're not old. And it's African Americans. We always joke about, black don't crack. You typically cannot look at us and tell our age unless we actually disclose it. So the one thing you don't want to do is give the person the indication that you are old immediately. Now, age and race discrimination, gender discrimination, all of that is wrong. We're not here to even discuss that. But don't help them discriminate against you, okay? So your resume should not reveal things about you that share your age. And it's not just your year being in your email address. It's the fact that you list your high school on your resume. First of all, your high school information should not be on your resume, especially if you've been out of high school for 10, 12, 15, 20 years. We don't need to know that you graduated in 1992. I've seen resumes with their high school information and college information on there. I mean, the fact that you have college information is a dead giveaway that you went to high school. If you have obtained your GED, that information does not have to be on there. A lot of times people just want to say, I completed high school or the equivalent of it. Listen, your resume should reflect your work history, right? Unless you're 18 years old, 19, 20, where you're trying to show, I did go to school, I did graduate, and these are the courses I took. That's different. But you're 40 and 50 years old, 35 years old, your high school information should not be listed on your resume. Also, your resume can go back I've seen 10 to 12 years. So, so for instance, it's 2023 now, right? It's going to be 24. It's okay to stop at 2010, right? So like start that's the longest, that's the latest information you want to provide. Well, some people are thinking like, well, I've been in my job for 30 years. How do I cover that? Good question. You can actually put the length of time, or if you worked at a company for 30 years and you got promoted in the last position that you've held, you've held for 10 years, that's a quick way to list it there. So the goal is to list your experience and your qualifications based on the role that you are seeking. Okay, so your resume, these are just some tips to kind of help you. Now, some people will disagree with me. That's okay. I respect your opinion. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I've seen as a career counselor trying to help students and graduates find employment. And so I'm also a resume reviewer, and I also revise resumes. I do not create resumes from scratch, and I will tell you why. When you come to me and just say, my name is Mary Smith, right? Write a resume for me. That's going to take 9,000 years, because what happens is I used to do that to people. I used to like, oh yeah, give it to me. And then when I send the resume back based on the information they provided, they'd be like, yeah, I forgot I had worked at, I used to be in heaven as an angel. I forgot to tell you that. So what happens is when they see the resume, it just jars their memory to all of this stuff they forgot to tell me. Some of the stuff is relevant or irrelevant, but you find yourself working on a document much longer than you plan on working on it. So I revise resumes, and trust me, it's worth paying to have your resume revised, because most of the times you just don't know how to list duties in a way that is actually palatable to the person who's reading it. I also consider who you are, right? So if you're a person, you graduated from high school, did a little bit of college maybe, and you worked in customer service or an administrative assistant role, maybe in a dental office, a hospital setting, and your experience, is what it is. Some resume writers will write above who you are. They write beyond who you are. Now, your experience is fine, but if you don't understand the words that's on your resume because a resume writer has inflated your skills to the point where you're thinking like, I don't even use these words, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for you in an interview. Okay, so your resume should represent you. So if you're like, hey, listen, I've never heard the words that's on my resume, you have to be able to explain it. When they say, well, tell me about a time when you did this, per your resume, you're like, oh, let me look and see what I said I did. That's not going to help you at the interview, okay? So your resume needs to be appropriate. The length should be respectful. It should apply to the position that you're interested in or the industry that you're interested in. Sometimes you need another resume. You might have a resume that if you worked in healthcare and you are a project manager in different environments, social work, one resume does not always fit all positions. So consider that. In addition to your resume, while you're updating that, update your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, create a LinkedIn profile. What employers do is when they're interested in you, they want to call you in for an interview, they often go to the LinkedIn profile and decide to give you a call based on that. Sometimes the resume is good, but LinkedIn doesn't match the person who's presenting the resume. So for instance, if you have someone create a resume for you, kind of create your LinkedIn profile with your resume in mind. You got to make it make sense. Also, your cover letter. If you have a cover letter, you can't just say, I'm interested in the position you have posted. I have 96 positions posted. Please let me know which position you're applying to. I'm a recruiter. I don't have time to look at your resume and figure out what you might be interested in. Okay? So that's some general basic information about cover letters, resumes, and LinkedIn profile. Make sure your resume is not too long. Make sure it is error-free. Now, during the pandemic, I will tell you, companies were actually hiring people who could breathe. I mean, if you walked in, you could breathe. I was actually at a restaurant, and this girl came into the restaurant for a position. It looked just like she was on her way to the laundromat or coming from the laundromat, but you definitely saw laundromat in her situation. She was there for an interview. You could have bought me for a penny and got back change. I was so shocked. I was thinking like, but she may not have known, right? So those of us who've been interviewing since the 1900s, we know. Back in the day, you couldn't wear colors to the interview. You had to fade into the wall. You had to wear black, brown, gray, navy. You could not be, you could not wear things that was too loud. You couldn't have on a lot of perfume. Like, this is definitely inappropriate for an interview. And the reason for that is you wanted the interviewers to hear what you're saying and not see what you're wearing. So that was the reason for that, because you didn't want your clothes to be a distraction. Okay. So during the pandemic, they were just hiring people because everybody went home and they needed people to work, in certain environments. So they just hired whoever was breathing and paying them astronomical amounts of money sometimes for positions like, oh, that position pays $70,000. Just 2 years ago, it paid 40. Things change. Well, just in case you didn't know, the pendulum is swinging back where employers now are laying off. Companies are laying off. By my husband and I having a trucking company, I communicate with truckers from across the country, different parts of the country. And one of my Clubhouse cousins, I'm on Clubhouse still. Yes, I'm still on Clubhouse. One of my Clubhouse cousins and I, we share company layoffs. Like, this person is laying off, this company is closing, this is what's going on. And the reason for that is just so we'll know, and it's helping me help other people. I also have a really good friend who actually got a job this year at a company that was going under. And guess what? She got furloughed. So now you can get hired at a company and you're thinking like, oh, thank you, Jesus. So nice of you to give me a job, Lord. And then all of a sudden they come in like, hey, what had happened was the budget wasn't right, and now we gotta lay some people off. And then, last hired, first fired, or first laid off. So you got to consider that. So the goal is to position yourself where you can be in the best position should anything happen. So that's the goal of updating your resume, just staying aware of what's going on in the industry. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Then I want to talk about if you are currently employed, because this is the state of a lot of our family and friends. You're currently employed, and either they're laying off or they're targeting different people for different reasons. So they're like, we're going to get rid of this position or get rid of this person. If you are experiencing workplace harassment and bullying, there is a way to handle that. And most of us will handle it incorrectly before we find out and figure out how to handle it correctly. I was bullied in the workplace. Yes, I was. I testify about it all the time. And I tell people it was the best situation in the world for me because I learned so much. I'm a fighter. If you follow me on Facebook, you know that already. I don't fight humans, though. I fight corporations and companies. I'm a person, listen, I'm a consumer. You're going to do right by me. But I was working at DeVry University, and I had some challenges there. And that's where I experienced workplace harassment, bullying, and I was one of the top performers. So I performed very well under stress and pressure, and I learned a lot. And I will tell you, for those of you, if you've ever been written up, put on a PIP, which is a performance improvement plan, listen, you know what I'm talking about. And the one thing that we sometimes fail to do just because we don't know is when you're put on a performance improvement plan and you're giving information in writing, we go home and we meditate like, oh my God, so now I got to get to work on time. I got to be extra early. I got to do, and you do need to do everything you should do. But when you run into a situation where things are being recorded in writing, that is your time to stop talking and start journaling. So if you're in trouble right now, because I'm talking to somebody who's in trouble at work, and you're trying to figure it out, and you're going to work, and you're at the water cooler talking about the situation. Listen, leave the water cooler and go to your computer, go to your phone, take notes, and actually track what's going on. Also, if you find yourself, where it's like things that are, like racism, if you're being discriminated against with something in a protected class, like, you need to actually track that. And when you're sending emails or receiving emails, blind carbon copy yourself on it. If they lay you off, so I spoke with someone this week that was put on leave, right? Administrative leave while they reviewed the situation. If you're in that position, you will not have access to your internet. Sometimes they'll lay you off while they're waiting to make a decision, and they take away your access to your business emails. Listen, if that happens, you won't have access, and all of the proof that you need would be at the email that you cannot access. So when things get strange and you're sending emails to HR, to your supervisor, to your director, to whomever, blind carbon copy yourself. so that you can track and trace the conversation. The companies that are bad actors, unscrupulous practices, illegal practices, their IT departments will wipe information away, right? They'll just, oh no, we're not. They will delete proof. But if you have the proof, that proof cannot be taken away. Okay, so if you're having trouble, you can actually call me and talk about it, whatever the case is, if you're having trouble. Okay, so that's what I want to say about the employment situation when you're struggling at your job. And for those of you who are like, well, everything is fine, I feel scared and, what should I be? Don't be worried about anything, right? I believe you pray about everything, I believe that God is on the throne and he will help you. If you come to him and say, dear God, I need your help. He's very kind, very nice. He has been helping humans for a long time. So if you need help, he will help. But there's some basic things that you can do to make your life easier. So I thought this was a great time as we wrap up the year to think about your next move. And some of you all who have businesses, like obviously, I do more than one thing. I run a trucking company, but my trucking company, can pay my husband, but can't afford to pay me. So sometimes when you're like, oh, I got this big business idea, great. Do not quit your job based on what you're doing until the time is right, and unless the time is right. You don't want to be in a bad situation. Sometimes you leave a position, you didn't realize how beautiful those Blue Cross Blue Shield benefits were, right? Because now when you're working for yourself and the benefits are different, because you got to pay them out of yourself's money, right? Out of the company that you started, it could be a little different. So make good decisions before you walk away from a position that's the best thing for you. So this week, kind of focus on your career. Look at your career. Look at where you want to go. Some of you are close to retirement, so you're thinking like, I ain't got to worry about none of this. Hallelujah. Congratulations. But others of you, some of us, we may have to make another move before we go ahead and retire. We may have to make another move before we, think about changing positions. Some of you all can't change positions because you might need to get a little more education. You might need certification. You might need to finish that degree. If that's the case, evaluate what you need to do. Because I worked in a school and I work at a school, I'm going to tell you, before you go to school to finish school, count up the costs, because you can't owe $300,000 of student loans and not even make $100,000. It depends on what industry you're going into. You have to keep that in mind. You want to make good decisions. So I hope this makes sense for you all. I hope this is helpful to you all. If you have any other specific questions, I am here. You can actually email me at Tam at the Tipwriter. That's TAM at the Tipwriter, and I will respond. You can call or text me 708-300-9220. That's 708-300-9220. I just want to share information that I think will be helpful for people who might be seeking employment or having trouble at your current job. Now, there's a lot to discuss and cover during employment, so I will also be sharing again on Wednesday. If there is something you want to ask me about specifically as it relates to employment or any topic, let me know and I will find out. So I don't know everything, right? No human can, but I am resourceful and I actually do speak with attorneys. I work at a law school, so I will talk with someone who can give legal advice, because some of you all have situations. If you're on FMLA, oh my God, this month has been so much has happened this month. So I do want to share this. If you're on family leave, you're on medical leave at your job, and you're on the bubble, right? They've been trying to get rid of you, or they're looking for whatever. You have to be careful even with your leaves. So if you are slated to come back to work December 39th, right? Well, I'm going to make up a fake date. If you're slated to come back to work December 39th, even though you got to go back to an environment that causes you mental stress, you have to go back to work on the date that you're scheduled to go back to work. So you may think like, I'm going back into an environment that's stressful. I'm going back into an environment and my leave isn't over unless you get your leave extended with the doctor's note, doctor's information, doctor sharing my patient is not ready to come back to work. You can lose your job, right, if you do not return to work. So you have to kind of think about everything that you're doing and Don't just assume, well, my leg was still hurting, you know what I'm saying? It was swollen. Okay, that's fine. If your leg is still swollen, you're not able to come back to work, you still got staples in your junk, that's fine. But you have to get medical documentation that you have to submit to your company instead of just staying off work, okay? I've actually spoken with about 3 or 4 people this month with this FMLA and different types of leaves, medical leave, family leave, stress leave, and all those leaves are legitimate, but you have to figure out a way to transition from the leave back to work, and you just can't assume that that you don't have to go back to work. So all things work related. So this week, I want you to focus on your career, focus on things that you could do better. And if you find yourself, some of you all are enjoying your jobs, nothing is going wrong, but I want you to hear me. If things start to shift, if you get a new director in, a new boss in, and they know not who you are, right? So they're coming in like, I'm taking over, I'm the new sheriff in town, and they may be coming in to clean house. Listen, when things get strange, go ahead and start documenting. And also, I've experienced a lot in life when it comes to employment. I've been terminated before. I've been laid off before. And I have received unemployment. When I was laid off, I've been laid off 2 or 3 times. I received that unemployment every time. I was terminated, and when I tried to apply for unemployment, the CEO, who only supervised me for 17 days, fought my unemployment. Now, of course, I won. Now, y'all know me. It's a winner in me. It's a big winner in me. I win. So, I really do. I can't explain it. I am anointed to win. But she decided that I didn't deserve unemployment because she actually had terminated my supervisor. After that, she was coming for everybody under the supervisor. I mean, it all made sense to me. Like, oh yeah, you don't like my boss, you're definitely gonna let go of everybody who's under my boss, and that's what she was doing. But she tried to fight my unemployment and thought she was gonna win. So I had I think they call it an adjudication hearing. So I got my unemployment. Long story short. But if you find yourself having to apply for unemployment and you have to, it's actually fought against, the company decides they don't want to pay you, companies have won and former employees have won. But you got to position yourself to win by the things you do and don't do. Long story short, when it comes to companies, if you are in trouble, please, in the movie, silence is golden. In real life, silence can be platinum. Hush, hush up. Hush up. Start typing. Start writing. Start journaling. Whatever you do, get out of your emotions, okay? So I hope this information has been helpful. It's kind of long-winded, but I'm kind of long-winded, so the information is long. It was something else I wanted to talk about. I'll probably talk about it Wednesday. It's a lot in my head. I'm just going off the top of my head with things I wanted to say. But before the year ends, update your resume, update your cover letter, right? Just create a cover letter for a position, for your dream position, and update it. Update your LinkedIn profile. Oh, that's it. If you are looking for employment, please mind your social media presence. Companies have extended offers and rescinded those because they went on the person who's going to hire, went on their Facebook page and saw the party they went to and saw that they got drunk, and they just like, oh yeah, we know you wanted to start on January 7th. We're gonna go ahead and pull that back. January 7th, 2024. We're gonna go ahead and pull that back, right? So you have to really be careful, right? So you got to kind of think about, what do I want to, what can I do, right? What can I do? What can I show? There are a few ways you can handle your social media presence. You can make it private, because I have all my posts public, because I don't do strange stuff. So, if you read my posts, whether you're my friend or not, I don't have anything out there that the public can't read. But if all of a sudden, I go to this party that's strange, and I'm drinking and I'm dancing on top of a table, I may not want my potential boss to know I get down like that. Or furthermore, that this is the first time I've ever done that in my life, and somebody just happened to catch it because they were so shocked, like, I don't think Tam Drink could get drunk, but I see this in the flesh. Let me go ahead and capture this. They posted on their page and tag me in it. Control the tags. So like if somebody tags you in something, it should not go to your page immediately. You kind of want to think about it. So when you're looking for employment, employers can use everything at their disposal, because again, they have one position, maybe two, and they have 400 resumes, sometimes 500. The job I got back in 2000 and, Lamb of God, 2006. I interviewed for it, and there was, I believe, 838 candidates, resumes that came through, and I got the position. So you never know who your competition is. And sometimes, if you're the best runner-up, but something eliminates you from that opportunity, they just go to the next person who may be still seeking employment. So just position yourself to win on every level. This video was way longer than I imagined it would be. I apologize. I'm long-winded. Again, if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me, Tam G. Bryant, I am the tip writer. That's because I write most of the times, and I try to share tips that's helpful for the humans. You can reach me. The email address is tam@thetipwriter.com. The number you can call or text is 708-300-9220. So I hope this has helped, and I hope that you have a Merry Christmas, and I will chat with you later on this week. Have a great one.